بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقى ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا يستجاب لها. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربع. أما بعد، فحياكم الله جميعا في الدرس الثالث في شرح مختصر النحو المفيد للمبتدئ فيه والمعيد. In the last verse we went through the contents or the table of contents for the book, and we got an overview of how we are going to inshallah progress in this book. And we mentioned that because an-Nahw, the science of Nahw, it studies two things. It studies how the words end, and it studies what the structure of the sentence is, and other masail related to the sentence. So that is why, because of this sole reason, we have divided the book into two sections. The first section is going to deal with words, types of words, and how different words end. And the second section is going to deal with the jumla itself, inshallah. One of the brothers had suggested that because, alhamdulillah, we're reading this book in Arabic, and as we progress and as we read more texts in Arabic, it is very beneficial for us if we sort of start making a list of the new words that we learn and start adding them to our vocabulary. And one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary is to make a list of words, paste it on the wall. Masalan, take those sticky notes, paste them on the wall, or make a list in your phone, notes, Samsung notes or something, and I don't know if there's something similar in the Apple phones as well. But any smartphone, you can make some notes and you can post them on your home screen, masalan. And there will be 4 or 5 words every time, or from every page we take out 4 or 5 words that we add to our vocabulary. We learn its masalan, if it is a verb, we learn its past tense and its present tense, also its masdar, verbal noun, and also we learn its meaning in English. We post them in our masalan notes in our phones, something that you go through twice a day, thrice a day. Just whenever you open your phone, unlock your phone, you go through it. So this would be inshallah a very beneficial thing. So what we're going to be doing is that we have assigned this task to a couple of brothers who will be inshallah highlighting the words they think inshallah that are worthy of something that we didn't know of, and we should be adding them to our vocabulary. And they will be making this list of words. They will be sharing it with me. I will inshallah make a table of this vocabulary with Allah and share it with you right after the dars, or a while after the dars. This way, and you can take those words, perhaps just copy and paste them to your notes, or write them again all together on your notes, and just go through them once, twice, thrice a day. This will inshallah enable you to memorize those words and know how to use them, inshallah. So this is what we'll be doing from today onwards, bidnillah. Jazakallah khair, the one who gave this suggestion to us. نبدأ الآن بارك الله فيكم بالمقدمة, and this is the first section of the book, in which we will be inshallah studying the types of words and how they end in Arabic, how their endings are altered because of the changes in their roles in the sentence. So the words have different roles in the sentence. Sometimes the word is referring to the one who performed the fi'l, the verb. Sometimes they are referring to the one upon whom the action was applied. So there are different roles in the sentence. In accordance with the words, change their endings in order to denote their roles in the sentence. And that is what inshallah we're going to be learning in this first section of the book, al-Qism al-Awwal. And the first thing that we're going to start with is an-Nahw al-Kalima, the types of words. Al-Muqaddimah, an-Nahw al-Kalima. طيب, ما معنى أنواع? Who knows the meaning of أنواع?
Types.
Types. What is it a plural of? What is it a plural of?
نوع.
نوع. A نوع means type. Also, we use the similar word أقسام. جمع قسم. It's the plural of قسم. أقسام is also types, and أنواع is also types, but they sometimes they use it in different ways. The ulama, they mention some difference between أنواع and أقسام, which I'm not sure of that faida right now. Inshallah, if I remember it, I will share it with you. So أنواع is the جمع of نوع, النوع means type. طيب ممتاز. يلا نبدأ يا من whoever wants to read. علي، أبو بكر، brothers يعني بارك الله فيكم، أيكما يريد أن يقرأ فليقرأ.
I can start inshallah.
يلا بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أما بعد، قال المصنف حفظه الله: المقدمة أنواع الكلمة.
مرة ثانية يا أخي علي.
المقدمة. المقدمة.
أحسنت. ليش؟ لأنه under the شدة. It's under the شدة. below the شدة. نعم أحسنت.
صحيح. الكلمة ثلاثة أنواع: اسم وفعل وحرف. فالاسم ما يدل بذاته على شيء من غير دلالة على علاقته بالزمن. ومما يعرف به التنوين، كمررت بمحمد، ودخول كالطالب مجتهد، والجر إذ هو من خصائص الاسم كما سيأتي.
طيب حسبك. شوف الكلمة ثلاثة أنواع. It's three types. Any word in Arabic يعني there is no word in Arabic that will go out of this classification. So any word in Arabic will either be an ism or a fi'l or a harf. We mentioned that ism from when we look at it as people who have been through English grammar, we look at it, the ism includes 5 of the 8 parts of speech. And we mentioned it includes what are the parts of speech that come under the heading of ism? We have noun, that's mostly the case, noun. Then we have pronoun. We also have adjective, that will be an ism. We also have adverb, that will be an ism. And what else do we have? We said interjection, right? The other day. These are the 5 of the 8 words of parts of speech that come under the heading of ism in Arabic. And generally it's noun and pronoun mostly, but all of these, adverb, adjective, interjection, also are mostly asma. With regards to fi'l, we mentioned it's verb. And with regards to harf, we said it's either one of the two, and one was conjunction, and the other was preposition. And for those, this is for those who know English grammar to relate. If you don't know, inshallah, we're going to study it in Arabic. ما في مشكلة. But someone who can relate, let him relate. That's the point here. طيب. Now, because the book is in Arabic, I couldn't have said that al-ism is noun. طيب. ما يصلح, right? So I have to give it some sort of you have to define it in Arabic. So you go with what the grammarians have defined it as. They say that ما يدل بذاته, يدل means points to. يدل points to. It's from dilala. Dalil. Why is dalil dalil? Dalil means evidence, because it points towards something, right? That's why yadullu is a fi'l that has been taken from dalil. It is a dalil for. It's a dalil. ما يدل بذاته itself. It's a dalil. بذاته itself. It itself. Ism is something, is a word that itself points to something. على شيء من غير دلالة على علاقته بالزمن, without making any mention of any time. It's not related to any in any form to time. So مثلا, why are we mentioning this? It's not related to time, because as opposed to verb, on the other hand, the verb, whenever you use a verb in English, in Arabic, whenever you use a verb, مثلا, I am going, I went. There is some sort of a denotion with regards to time. And he went it's something that happened in the past. Going is happening in the present, right? But when it comes to ism, مثلا زيد. الآن زيد غدا ولا زيد أمس ولا زيد اليوم ما في ما يدل على أي معنى. زيد tomorrow, yesterday, today, nothing. There is no denotion or no no information whatsoever with regards to time. When Zaid happened or when Zaid was there is nothing related to time here. Zaid is an object. It's something. You know, it's someone or something. To make this easy, shabab, ism is something that is a name of a person, place, animal, thing, but that's it. This is the easiest of definitions for ism. To know what ism is. Name of a person, place, animal, or thing. Now, name of a person can be a proper noun like Zaid, Ahmad, Khalid, and it can also be referring to some sort of a common noun like a pilot. Pilot is a person, right? Place, مثلا, it can be a proper noun like Makkah, Al-Madinah, Riyadh, Jeddah, Hakada. And place can be something that is a common noun in English, مثلا, the kitchen or city, Hakada, animal and thing. Type. So this is ism. That's a name or something that points towards a person, place, animal, thing. But that's it. Yani in Arabic, ما يدل بذاته, you can write it as ما يدل بذاته here على شيء, على شخص, you can write it like this, على شخص أو مكان أو مثلا حيوان أو شيء. Now, when we say shay in Arabic, shay is a very inclusive word in Arabic. Shay can be used for insan, shay can be used for hayawan, shay can be used for place. Shay is a very inclusive word. How do we know this? مثلا Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قُلْ أَيُّ شَيْءٍ أَكْبَرُ شَهَادَةً. What is the thing or what is it that is greater in testimony? قُلِ اللَّهِ, Allah is the greatest when it comes to the testimony. And the testimony of Allah is the greatest testimony. So shay is a very inclusive word. So much that when we ask this question, قُلْ أَيُّ شَيْءٍ أَكْبَرُ شَهَادَةً, it was correct to answer it with the name of Allah. Say, Allah, قُلِ اللَّهُ شَهِيدٌ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ. So in Arabic, shay is very inclusive, but just we would like to expound a little bit to make it more clear to us that it's not just thing, rather it can be a shakhs or insan or makan or haywan or shay. Now here shay we are using it to refer to something. That is ism. Okay, that is ism. Type. Now there must be some ways, some method to know, to identify where there is an ism. So that's what we are mentioning here. مما يعرف به. يعرف به, what it is known with or known by. به, ba means by or with. These huruf, these prepositions are important to know. مثلا ala means on something, ila means to something, fi means inside, min means from. Likewise, ba, the letter ba is used as a preposition, and it means with or by many times, and it can have different meanings as well. But generally it means with or by. وَمِمَّا يُعْرَفُ بِهِ, yani what it is known with or known by, it is known by at-tanween. Yani first, one of the signs, let me just change the color of the pen now. One of the signs of ism is tanween. One of the signs of ism is barakallahu fikum tanween. What's going on? We need everyone to mute their mics, please. Jazakumullah khair. Now, طيب. تنوين. What is تنوين يا شباب؟ من يعرف ما هو التنوين؟ من يعرف ما هو التنوين؟ What's تنوين يا إخوان؟ This is something we read in تجويد. نعم.
فتحتين كسرتين ضمتين.
ضمتين فتحتين كسرتين. هذا التنوين. This is تنوين. So any word that's got تنوين, it means it is it's certainly an ism. أحسنتم. Any word that has tanween, it's certainly an ism, right? That's why we are mentioning it as a sign. That's sign number one of an ism. You can write number one here. Fine. Now, so marartu, we mentioned an example. Marartu bi Muhammadin. Marartu means I passed by. Marartu, I passed by. Marra yamurru, to pass by someone. And ta here is for the mutakallim, for the first person. Marartu, I passed by bi Muhammadin. طيب, what part of the example are we going to use as an evidence for this point? Marartu bi Muhammadin. What part of the sentence is the place we're using as an evidence?
التنوين.
The tanween in Muhammad. So this shows that Muhammad is an
اسم.
ism. Ahsant. طيب. Number two. Number two, you can point out and write here number two. That's sign number two of ism. Alamah number two. دخول al. دخول al. يعني what does it mean دخول al? يعني having al at يعني in the word. Having al in the word means that word is an ism. So we have mentioned an example here. الطالب مجتهد. الطالب and the student is mujtahid. He is a hardworking student. And as the student is hardworking, he is someone who strives. طيب. What part of the sentence, or how do we know that الطالب is an ism?
By the al before.
Ahsan, because of the al that is before طالب. Ahsantum. And how do we know that mujtahid is an ism?
الضمتين.
ضمتين. أحسنتم. تنوين. Yeah. ممتاز. See, these are signs to determine whether a word is an ism or not. But generally, by the meaning of the word, you can determine it's an ism. الطالب, what is it referring to? It's referring to a person. So it's an ism. صح ولا لا يا شباب؟ يعني it's not necessary that you will find these signs in the word, and unless and until you find these signs, you are confused whether this is an ism or is it a verb or is it a حرف. لا ما هكذا يعني تكون الأمور. This is not how things are. These signs, we use them when we when we don't understand something. You see, yani if I'm not sure that what's Muhammad, okay, what is Muhammad? Oh, but I see a tanween. Okay, tanween, that means it's an ism. That's when I use this tanween. Otherwise, I know that Muhammad is a word that is referring to a person, and of course, the words used for persons, these are always asma. These are always asma, right? So these are signs that we mentioned just because these are signs that is something that is exclusive to ism. These are things that are exclusive to ism, but these are not things that we primarily depend on in order to determine whether a word is an ism or fi'l. You see, primary dependence is on your understanding of the word, ya akhi. At-talib, student, it's referring to a person. Of course, it's an ism. Mujtahid here, يعني it's referring hardworking. What is it? This is first of all, it's a predicate. ما في مشكلة. بخلونا من هذا. It's sort of an adjective, right? It's describing. It's a word that describes the talib. It's a word that is describing the talib. So we said that adjectives are also ism, يعني with the meaning. Okay, if you're having some difficulty with the meaning, ما في مشكلة. Now you look towards the tanween, you look towards al, you look towards other things. طيب. We have another sign of ism here, and we mentioned al-jar. And what is jar? We will mention this later on. These are the three different moods of a word. A word is in different moods. Why? And it changes the moods in accordance with its role in the sentence. So jar, just to make it, just to explain to you يعني, a little bit right now. In Arabic, whenever a word occurs after a preposition, we usually have kasratain after it. Like مثلا, I will give you an example. مثلا يعني مثلا ما من إله إلا إله واحد. إله. طيب إله. So now we have this preposition here that is min. This is a preposition meaning from or now. طيب. Now what happened to the next word إله? It got kasratain. Now this mood in which يعني it gets kasratain, this is called jar. This is a mood. Like you mentioned different moods in Arab, in English as well. When you said, and when it's a subject, we say he. When it's the object, we say him. Also, when it is used after the preposition, I took this ball from him. After the prepositions, we use from him. Never would you say, I took this ball from he. That's not correct, right? So you say, I took this ball from him. So likewise, in Arabic, we have some changes that occur. And there is this particular mood that is called al-jar. And usually it happens when a word occurs after prepositions. This inshallah will be studying. But why did we mention it here? Yani just to yani encompass and count the most important of signs of ism in one place. Just to put them in one place, we are mentioning it here. Even though we know that most of the tullab might not be understanding what jar is, but just to put it in one place, we mentioned it here so that when the talib in the future, as he progresses and he studies and he understands what al-jar is or what al-khafd is, then he is able to understand this kalam when he comes back to ism. Right. Then هذا هو الاسم. What is ism? Barakallahu fikum. A better definition of ism would be to say that ما يدل بذاته على شخص أو مكان أو حيوان أو شيء. That's a better definition. And inshallah, it's something that I would be wanting to يعني perhaps alter in the book in the future inshallah. ما يدل بذاته على شخص أو مكان أو حيوان أو شيء. Some name of a person, place, animal, or thing. Okay. And from this, it's very clear that has no relation whatsoever to the time. Yani, whether that person was there or that place was there or that haywan was there or that thing was there in the past, present, future, the ism does not tell you anything about it. What are the signs of ism? Tanween, al, and al-jar. طبعا al-jar, what is jar? We'll get to it later on. But tanween, and any word that's got a tanween on it, that means it's an ism certainly. Any word that has al in it, that means it's an ism certainly. Right. Before we end our conversation about ism, there's one thing that I would like you to know, and that is that these signs that we mentioned, it's not necessary that you find it in the ism. And if you're reading Quran, you're going to the Quran, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِهِ دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ وَأَيُّوبَ وَيُوسُفَ وَمُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. طيب. Now, Dawood, وَسُلَيْمَانَ وَأَيُّوبَ. طيب. I'm just giving you examples. Now, these three words, do they have any tanween?
No.
No. Do they have al?
No.
طيب. إذن ما هو بلازم. This is not necessary that every ism has these two signs. Okay. Another one of the things that I'd like to mention is what else do مثلا, you are reading a text. You are reading a text, and you find a word written in this way. And let me just first erase all of these annotations. You find a word written in like this. You find a word written like this. Kitabu, astaghfirullah. Kitabu Zaydin. Now, with regards to Zayd, you know it's got a tanween, so you're yani, mashallah, you're sure that it's an ism. But Kitabu, it's a name of a thing, but it does not have any tanween. It does not have al. So you're confused. Is it an ism? No, you shouldn't be confused. These signs are studied because you take this word and check. Is it correct to say al-kitab? Yes, it's. I have heard this somewhere. I have heard it in the Quran, al-kitab. That means kitab is an ism. You put a tanween to it. If it doesn't have a tanween in some place, you have learned the sign that if there is a tanween, it's an ism. So what do? You take this word and you put a tanween. Say kitabun, and you try to check if it's something that is correct or no. Have we heard this before from some Arabs? Have I heard this in the Quran? Have I heard this in the Hadith? Kitabun. It's a lot. It's occurred a lot of times in the Quran. That means it's an ism. You see. So in the very text, it did not contain any tanween or al. But when you put it to test, and this is sort of a litmus test that you yourself have to apply. So when you put it to test, you found it to be something that you have heard in the Quran or in the Hadith. Kitabun al-kitab. You see? So these signs are not necessarily will be present in the text itself. Sometimes you will have to take out the word and test it to al. Put an al with it. Does it work? If it works, very good, mashallah. Put a tanween at the end of it. Check. Have you heard this before? Have you heard some Arab use it in this way? Have you heard it in the Quran, in the Hadith? That's how you use these signs. And lastly, you can add here another one of the signs, and that is for that's technically not very precise, but generally it will be very helpful for you. And that is sign number 4. You can say ta marbuta. Ta marbuta. Say ta al marbuta. In the old books they don't mention it because ta marbuta, and technically it might not be a very precise and always true sign of an ism, but it works. It works. Ta marbuta, just look around yourself. Any word that has ta marbuta, it's an ism. Any word that's got the ta marbuta, it's an ism. There might be some exceptions to it, maybe who knows, but this is a sign that will work very, very well for you, inshallah. So if you see a word and you're confused, is it an ism or not? Ta marbuta, it has a ta marbuta, yalla, it's an ism. طيب, yalla. Then an ism, name of a person, place, animal, or thing. What are its signs? And how do you know it's an ism? You can know it's an ism by tanween, or by al, or by ta marbuta, or by يعني الجر, which inshallah we'll be studying later on what jar is. نعم اقرأ أخي الفعل.
والفعل ما يدل على حدث مع الدلالة على زمنه وهو ثلاثة أقسام.
سامحني. نعم اقرأ.
وهو ثلاثة أقسام لكل قسم ما يعرف به من العلامات. الأول الفعل الماضي وهو نحو كتب وشرب، ويعرف بإمكان اتصال تاء الفاعل بآخره كشربت الماء، وكذا بإمكان اتصال تاء التأنيث بآخره ككتبت أمي إلي. والثاني الفعل المضارع وهو نحو أكتب تكتب يكتب، وأشرب تشرب يشرب، ويدل على زمن الحال أو المستقبل لا الماضي. ويعرف بإمكان دخول السين وسوف عليه كسأكتب الكتاب وسوف أشرب الماء، وكذا بإمكان دخول لن ولم عليه كلن أطيع الشيطان ولم أشرب بيبسي يا أمي. ثالثا الثالث فعل الأمر وهو نحو أكتب واشرب، ودلالته على طلب الفعل في المستقبل، ويعرف بالدلالة على الطلب مع قبوله لياء المخاطبة أو نون التوكيد فكلي واشربي وقري عينا، وكقول عبد الله ابن رواحة فأنزلا سكينة علينا وثبت الأقدام إن لاقينا.
نعم أحسنت بارك الله فيك. طيب هنا يا إخوان we'll be discussing now الأفعال. We'll be discussing فعل. What is فعل? To make it easy, فعل is verb. ما يدل على حدث means يدل. طبعا what we mentioned the meaning of يدل. What is the meaning of يدل?
Evidence.
It points to something. Yes, it's an evidence for something. It points to something. يدل على what does it point to? It points to a حدث. حدث, what is the meaning of حدث? An occurrence. An occurrence. Occurrence has one R or two R's. Yeah, let's try. Let's see. I think one R. Yes. على حدث مع الدلالة على زمنه. It points to some occurrence along with denoting its time. يعني along with the denotion of its time. It has something, it has some information related to time. Now let me give you an example. مثلا shariba means he drank. So there is some information about the time. Yashrabu means he is or he will. So there is some information about time. Now ishrab, when I say to him and I use an imperative, I say drink water. Ishrab ma. So this is also for future, right? Drink water. Drink it in the future, of course, because I'm telling you to drink right now. So we're going to do it in the future. Okay. So there is some information about time. That's the meaning of ma dilalati ala zaman. يعني let's just ignore all of this and simply say that فعل is verb بس يكفي بس verb. Everyone knows what a verb is. طيب. in Arabic grammar, unlike the English grammar, يعني English grammar has different classifications. You see, it has classification of tenses, then there are other classifications of verb. In Arabic grammar, we have our own classification, alhamdulillah. So we say that the fi'l is classified into 3 types. وهو ثلاثة أقسام. لكل قسم, for every type there are some علامات. For every time there's some. What is the meaning of علامات? ما معنى علامات?
Symbols.
Symbols, signs, something that tells you that it's a فعل. ممتاز. طيب. الفعل الماضي. Who knows what is فعل ماضي?
Past tense, is it?
Past tense. ممتاز. ماضي means past. ماضي means past. فعل ماضي, past tense. طيب. Instead of defining what past tense is, يلا خلونا بس فقط نذكر أمثلة. We just gave some examples. What's the use of defining فعل ماضي? Any student on this planet Earth, if you teach him what فعل ماضي is, most of the times you will be mentioning to him examples. You wouldn't give him a definition and then explain to him the definition. You see? So things that are already simple, let's not make them complicated by mentioning definitions and adhering to a particular methodology in the book. لا, خلاص. If the examples can work, let's work with examples. كتب means he wrote. وشرب means he drank. This is فعل ماضي. It's talking about the past. ويعرف. Now we're going to mention some of the علامات of فعل, and these are some things that you might not understand right now, but once you are done with the صيغ, the different verb forms and the different conjugates of the verbs, then you will inshallah be able to know what we are talking about here. ويعرف بإمكان اتصال تاء الفاعل. تاء الفاعل بآخره. يعني there is a ta of the fa'il that can attach to its end. Now, this is something right now you might not be able to understand. Those who have studied grammar before, they might understand this. Those who haven't, they might not understand it right now. These are some of the alamat. Yani it's just mentioned as a formality. Once you are done with the different, once you memorize the different verb forms and different conjugates of the verb, you will realize this by yourself. You will be able to recognize it. After some time, inshallah, I will just show you so that you see we have these verb forms all together. All you have to do is memorize these. When you memorize these, they have everything in it, inshallah. فعلت, فعلت, فعلتما, فعلتم. All of these conjugates, you memorize them, then you can easily recognize which one is فعل ماضي, which one is مضارع. So you don't need these علامات as such. But يلا, as long as we've mentioned them, يلا, ما في مشكلة. Okay, so تاء الفاعل, that is, فعلت, شربت, ذهبت, any word that can contain the تاء الفاعل, then it's a فعل ماضي. So if you have any فعل ماضي that you encountered, مثلا you encountered a فعل ماضي نصر, and you're not sure whether it's ماضي or مضارع, let's say. So what do? You try it with a تاء الفاعل. So how do you try it? You put this into this template, and you say نصرت, نصرت, and then you see whether it's correct or no. And if it's correct and it can work, خلاص, then that means that's فعل ماضي. But usually this is not how we, especially as non-Arabs, that's not how we usually identify the af'al. We identify it with our memory. We have memorized the different conjugates, the different templates of the verbs, and we are able to recognize it if we have memorized it very well. But this is just for a formality we mentioned here. كذلك we mentioned وكذا بإمكان اتصال, we mentioned here بإمكان اتصال تاء التأنيث. بإمكان اتصال تاء التأنيث, and تاء التأنيث is the ta that comes when you are attributing the fi'l to some female. So مثلا كتبت أمي إلي. So generally for a male you will say كتب. For a male you will say كتب, but for a female you will say كتبت. طيب. Can someone tell me in the Quran when we say laha ma kasabat? Laha ma kasabat. Who are we talking about?
نفس.
An-Nafs. Okay. طيب. We're talking about an-Nafs. An-Nafs يعني the soul. Is Nafs female?
Yes, it is female.
أحسنت. It is a feminine noun. ممتاز. Nafs is a feminine noun in Arabic. So these are some of the words يعني that are feminine, even though they don't contain any sign of femininity, but they still are feminine. And we just made a list of those words, and some of those words, not all of them. We have some examples that inshallah we'll be mentioning in the book, like shams, like nafs, like the limbs of the body. Any limb that is in pairs, as an elbow, mirfaq, no, except mirfaq, sorry, except mirfaq, like yad. Yad is feminine now because we have two. We have a pair of it, right? We have a pair of our feet, so qadam is also feminine. Rijl is feminine. Saq, I'm not sure, maybe it's feminine as well. Likewise, udhun will be feminine. وهكذا عين, eyes will be feminine. وهكذا, likewise. So there are some words in Arabic that don't contain ta marbuta, but still considered as feminine. Inshallah, we'll discuss them later on. Right. So these are one of the signs of fi'l madi that we mentioned just for as a formality. So it is known yu'rafu bi imkani. Imkan. What's the meaning of imkan?
Possibility.
Possibility. Ahsant. The possibility of it being attached. Ittisal, attachment. And the possibility of it being attached to ta al-fa'il, and the possibility of it being attached to ta at-ta'nis. So if it is possible for a word to attach to these two things, then it's a fi'al madi. It's a fi'al madi. Make it simple. Fi'al madi, fi'al in the past tense. First, you memorize these verb forms and conjugates, and khalas, you will be done with it, inshallah. Al-fi'al al-mudari'. What's fi'al al-mudari', ikhwan?
Present continuous.
Present tense, ahsant, or future tense. Depends on the context. So how do you know whether it's future or present? There are some articles that we use to denote the future tense, like seen. Instead of saying ashrabu, I would say sa'ashrabu or sawfa ashrabu. Yeah. Instead of saying ajlisu, I would say sa'ajlisu or sawfa ajlisu to denote future. But sometimes I don't use it. مثلا I would say, يعني مثلا if someone is saying هل ذهبت إلى المسجد? Have you gone to the masjid? I will say أذهب الآن. يعني I will be going now. أذهب الآن. يعني I will be going now. I'm not going right now. I'm standing in my house. And I will say أذهب الآن. يعني I will be moving now. مثلا كذلك هل أكلت أو مثلا هل تعشيت؟ لا خلاص هذا difficult. مثلا هل أكلت التفاحة? Did you eat the apple? هل أكلت التفاحة? Did you eat the apple? I will say آكل بعد قليل. آكل بعد قليل. I will eat after a little while. So I did not use seen. I did not use سوف. Yeah, but I just used it without seen or سوف. But still, it denoted future tense. How did I know? From the context. آكل بعد قليل. After a little while. So after a little while means it's not happening in the present tense. You see? So fi'al mudari' is used for both present and future tense. And instead of defining it, we mentioned examples of it. Aktubu, I am writing. Taktubu, you are writing. Yaktubu, he is writing. Wa ashrabu, I am drinking. Tashrabu, you are drinking. Yashrabu, he is drinking. Inshallah, we'll memorize this. ويدل على زمن الحال, just to make things يعني enable us to distinguish between فعل ماضي and فعل مضارع. We mentioned that فعل مضارع points to the present tense, زمن الحال. زمن الحال, this is present tense. أو المستقبل. What's مستقبل?
Future.
لا الماضي. It does not point to ماضي. It does not denote anything that happened in the past. لا الماضي. واضح يا اخوان؟ لا الماضي. طيب تفضل يا اخي هيثم.
الشيخ إذن تشرب for she
Sorry? Yeah, it is for she as well. Naam. It is for she as well, but we're not going to go into too many details. Tashrabu is for you, for a male, and for she as a third person as well, both of them. Now, قال ويعرف بإمكان possibility. Why possibility? Because not always will you find this sign. You will be encountering a text and you will not have seen or sofa inside it with the fi'al mudari. But you can, what you can do is you can try putting it with a scene. Check. Have you heard it? Check. Does it work? Is it there in the Quran? Is it there in the Hadith with seen? If it's there, يعني that means it's فعل مضارع. ويعرف بإمكان دخول السين وسوف. يعني سين and سوف can be used with this word because سين and سوف cannot be used with فعل ماضي. They cannot be used with فعل أمر. All they can be used with is the فعل مضارع. سأكتب الكتاب. I will write the book. سأكتب. This is, and seen, what does seen and سوف mean? Both of them mean will. But if both of them will mean will, is there some difference between seen and سوف?
Yes, one of them denotes that you do an activity in the nearest future, and one denotes that you do it in, one is later than the other.
نعم أحسنت يعني which one is the one that denotes near future?
The one with seen.
Seen. Okay, and why is this so that seen denotes the near future and sofa denotes the يعني what's the opposite of near future يعني far future, or I don't know how to say it. المهم, why is it that seen denotes the near future? Remember this قاعدة in Arabic. There is this قاعدة زيادة المبنى تدل على زيادة المعنى. What does this mean? يعني increase in the mabna. Mabna means structure. يعني increase in the number of letters denotes تدل على denotes increase in the معنى. So which one has more letters, seen or sofa? Seen is one letter. Sofa is how many letters? Three
letters.
That means sofa will be for the farther future and seen will be for the near future. Why? Because sofa will have to be more rich in meaning than seen. Why? Because it has more letters in it. واضح يا إخوان? More the letters you have, the richer the meaning becomes. Understood يا إخوان? So زيادة المبنى تدل على زيادة المعنى. This is a general قاعدة, general principle with regards to all أبواب of Arabic. General principle. طيب. وسوف أشرب الماء, and I will drink water. وكذا بإمكان دخول لن ولن, and لن means I will not. يعني لن simply means will not, and لم simply means did not. This is exact translation of لن and لم. Will not and did not. And these two articles لن and لم, they don't يعني they cannot be used except with فعل مضارع. So what will be the meaning of لن أطيع الشيطان? What's the meaning of أطيع? أطاع يطيع. نعم.
I obey.
لن أطيع means I
would never obey.
أحسنت. I will never or I will not obey the شيطان. أطاع يطيع إطاعة وطاعة. نعم. لم أشرب, طبعا this is the story of my life. لم أشرب بيبسي يا أمي. My mother usually tells me not to drink Pepsi, and yeah, I tend to like it. So that's why this is يعني a very an example that I relate to my life. لم أشرب بيبسي يا أمي. طيب لم أشرب. So what's the meaning of لم أشرب? I did
not drink Pepsi.
Yeah, أحسنت. بارك الله فيك. طيب. It should be avoided, yes, but يعني لكن some people tend to like things that are harmful. لا بأس. طيب ننتقل الآن إلى فعل الأمر. Now what is فعل الأمر يا أخوان؟ فعل الأمر command. أحسنت. command, and it's also called imperative. Now it's not related to tense as such. You see, with regards to the tenses, we're done. Past, present, future. Both of them we're done with them in ماضي مضارع. So the third one that we have is فعل أمر, that is command. يعني a فعل that denotes some sort of a command, it's an imperative. طيب. وهو نحو, examples of it are اكتب. What's the meaning of اكتب?
Right.
Right. نعم يعني command. واشرب, ايش معنى اشرب؟
Drink.
drink.
If you're
أحسنت.
commanding someone to drink.
ودلالة, أحسنت. ودلالته على طلب الفعل في المستقبل, and it denotes asking. طلب, asking a فعل. Command means asking. You are asking for something. Maybe you're asking to يعني asking your son, so and there is no element of يعني maybe there's no طلب, it's more of a like you're asking from a higher position, but still the word طلب is, it can be used for it. So you're asking someone to do something, and of course when you're asking to do it, you're asking it to happen in the future. He has not already done it, so that's why you're asking it to happen in the future. طيب ويعرف بالدلالة على الطلب, it is known because of its denotion. دلالة, denotion. Denotion of طلب. طلب means seeking something, asking something. مع قبوله, while it also accepts ياء المخاطبة, it accepts ياء المخاطبة. What's ياء المخاطبة? It's when you are addressing some woman or some any female. If you're addressing any female, use this ياء المخاطبة. مثلا, instead of saying تجلس, you will say تجلسين. If you want to tell her to sit down, you're not going to say اجلس, you're going to say اجلسي. Or مثلا يا أمي اجلسي, يا أمي قومي, يا أمي كلي, يا أمي اشربي الماء, يا أمي مثلا يعني اركبي السيارة, انزلي, اطلعي, هكذا. You see, so always with women you use or with females generally you use this ya, an extra ya. This is called ya al-mukhataba. We'll learn this inshallah. Noon al-tawkid, it's a noon used to add emphasis to the speech. Noon al-tawkid is a noon that is used to add emphasis to the speech. So مثلا يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. Now you know what the fi'l is here? From where until where is the fi'l? لَيَحْبَطَنَّ. What letter does the fi'l start? In لَيَحْبَطَنَّ. It starts from the ya. Yani you can add the ya as well for the mudari', right? I'll just write it again. Sorry, because it's very dirty handwriting here. I'll just write it again. Sorry. لا يحبطن. It's not any better, but hopefully لا يحبطن. Now the fi'l is starting from here, from the ya, and it's ending at ta. Okay, that's the fi'l. حبط يحبط, and it means for something to go to waste. You know, you must have read it in the Quran. حبطت أعمالهم, their a'mal got wasted, nullified. لا يحبطن عملك. Now what happened here? This lam and this noon was added to add emphasis in the ayah, in this fact that certainly, verily, indeed, this is going to happen for sure. What will happen? That your deeds will go to waste. So in order to add emphasis, we use or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use lam and noon. This noon, this extra noon, this is called noon at-tawkid. What's the meaning of tawkid? Tawkid means emphasis. Emphasis. We also call it ta'kid, tawkid. تأكيد توكيد كلها صحيحة تأكيد توكيد, all of it is correct. توكيد means emphasis. نون التوكيد يعني the noon that is added to emphasize more on something. So نون التوكيد, whenever it comes along with the denotion of طلب, then it is usually it's فعل أمر. Just to make things simple, فعل that denotes some sort of asking for something, this is خلاص فعل أمر. We all know where inshallah, if we memorize the different siyagh, if we memorize the different verb forms, we will be able to identify it easily. So, instead of beating the bush around the definitions, we can just, inshallah, just go and memorize it. وكقول عبد الله بن رواحة. Abdullah ibn Rawaha is one of the Sahaba of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was the one who would say the shi'r, who would say poetry. And one of his one of the verses of his poetry is فأنزلا سكينة علينا وثبت الأقدام إن لاقينا. The first part of this poetry was well, I forgot the first line, al-muhim, but this is and this was the second line. So Abdullah ibn Rawaha, and during one of the battles, I guess, he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make their hearts at peace, and he's asking for sakina, and sakina is sukoon, and sakina peace and when tranquility. So he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make them tranquil and make their hearts at peace and remove any sort of anxiety. So he uses the word here فَأَنزِلًا. فَأَنزِلًا. Now, where is the fi'l starting and where is it ending? In فَأَنزِلًا.
Starting at Hamza.
At Hamza, ممتاز جدا, barakallahu fiqh. The fi'l was this. This is the fi'l. What's wrong with this? Now, the fi'l is this. Anzil. Anzil. Anzil means bring down, cause to descend. Okay, bring down or descend. This is the fi'l. He added a noon. He added to this a noon. So he made this lam into a lam plus noon. Anzilan. This is called noon al-tawkid khafifa. It doesn't come with a shadda. This he added to add emphasis. Oh Allah, please, and in order to beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with more humility, anzilan, please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, send to us tranquility and peace of our hearts, وَثَبِّتِ الْأَقْدَامَ إِنْ لَاقِينَا, and make our feet steadfast when we meet the enemy. In laqina, if we meet the enemy, make ourselves steadfast. So here you see he uses the word the noon at-tawkid. Again, I would just stress on this point again and again that these signs, we are doing them for two reasons. They can be used sometimes, yes. Number two, this is how the ulama of Nahw have been mentioning them over centuries. So it is no use that we come up with signs of our own and we deviate from the path that they have been taking for centuries, because as a talib ilm, as a student of knowledge, our goal is not just to read this book and understand this. Our goal is to be able to advance and go on and read the books of the other ulama as well. So if the other ulama, they follow a certain methodology that I am foreign to and I have absolutely no idea about, then I will face a difficult time when I change the books, when I move from one book to another. So that is why if the same stuff is mentioned in the very first book that I studied, it will make it easy for me to move on to the next level of Nahw when I want to move to Qatr al-Nada, or if I want to move on to Alfiyat ibn Malik. It will make it easy for me as a student to be able to know the methodology or the fact that I already know the methodology since the very first step in my talab al-ilm. So that is why we mentioned these signs here, even though as a very beginner, maybe I won't be able to understand them. Ma fi mushkila. You're not able to understand them, just memorize them right now. And later on, when you finish the Nahw, you will be able to recognize each one of these bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And also when you advance to the next levels of Nahw and you see the other ulama, how they mention these signs, you will not face any sort of difficulty, inshallah. So remember, ya ikhwan, whenever you are pursuing and learning a science of ilm, or you're teaching it to someone, and someone who plans to become a student of knowledge, who wants to really seek knowledge of the Shari'i sciences, remember, don't make him dependent and reliant upon yourself. Don't give him everything in the plate and spoon feed him. La. Also, one of the maqasid one of the objectives that you must have in your mind is that you need to enable him and make him accustomed to the methodology of the scholars. There is no use that if you teach him something, but you make him handicapped and he's not able to advance in this science of knowledge. Because why? Because you taught him in a method, with a method that was exclusive to you. And now when he goes on to read the advanced works of the scholars, he doesn't understand anything. This is not the way. One of the maqasid of a teacher at the beginner level is that he must enable the student and he must make him accustomed to the methodology, terminology of the scholars who have written the advanced works, so that he can go on, he can reduce his dependency upon you and move on and also benefit from the works of the scholars. نعم. طيب نقرأ الآن بارك الله فيك الحرف.
Sorry, can I ask one question here?
تفضل. نعم.
The second last example you gave for noon tawqid, does it come in fi'al amr or fi'al mudari'?
It comes with fi'al amr, it comes with fi'al mudari' both. So that is why when we mention this ta'rif here of fi'al amr, the sign that we mentioned here, we said وَيُعْرَفُ بِالدِّلَالَةِ عَلَى الطَّلَبِ مَعَ نُونَ التَّوْكِيد. You see? So it's not alone, it's noon al-tawqid alone does not denote that it's fi'al amr. There should also be some sign, some denotion that you are asking for something to happen. It's not fi'al mudari'. So that is why I said the khulasa of this is that you have to memorize how fi'al amr is made. Once you're done with that, you will be able to recognize it. So this sign is not very, very beneficial. And first you should be able to recognize that this fi'al is being used to ask for something, and then you find noon al-tawqid. If I have so good understanding of Arabic, then why would I be needing these signs in the first place? So it comes with fi'al mudari', it comes with fi'al amr both. But how do you use it as a sign for fi'al amr when there is also dilala, a denotion of some sort of a talab? There is some talab. You're asking, someone is asking for some fi'al to be happened. Now, اقرأ يا أخي والحرف ما ليس.
والحرف ما ليس اسما ولا فعلا فلا يقبل علاماتهما، وهو نحو من على لم لن هل، ويدل على معنى في غيره لا في نفسه.
أحسنت. It says that harf is anything that is not an ism, not a fi'l. فلا يقبل علاماتهما, it does not accept the signs of the ism or fi'l. So any of the signs that we mentioned for ism fi'l, they are not true to harf. And what are the examples of harf? Min, ala, lam, lan, hal. These are the sort of words that are considered as huruf. What is the meaning of min? From. What's the meaning of ala?
Upon.
Upon or on. Ahsant. What's the meaning of lam? We just mentioned a while ago.
Did not.
Will
Did
not.
not. Ahsant. Lan. What does that mean?
Will not.
Will not. And hal does not have a word-to-word translation for English, but it's used for question. Hal anta kada, are you, is you, is he. So is, are, when they are used for asking questions, this is the word that we use in Arabic, hal. But in English, it depends. Are you okay? Is he okay? Are they okay? So you interchange with are and is, and it's difficult to give a word-to-word translation for hal. طيب, what's the meaning of laysa? ما ليس اسما ولا فعلا. What's the meaning of laysa? Laysa means not. But
It's not.
it's not. أحسن. ما ليس is something that is not. Something. ما ليس something that is not. That is not اسما ولا فعل. It's not فعل ولا اسم. فلا يقبل, it does not accept. يقبل means accept. علامات هما the signs of اسم الفعل. ويدل على معنى في غيره, it denotes some sort of a meaning in something else. what do we mean by this? There must be some other word that is mentioned here, like just like it is true for any preposition or conjunction in English as well. There must be some other word that is attached to it. Otherwise, if I say the word from, you will ask me from what? You're waiting for something, right? Likewise, if I say lam, did not, يعني what did not, what did you not, يعني, you see. Likewise, if I say ala, on, you will say on what, يعني, give me something. So there is something that you're waiting for, and that is what it means by يدل على معنى في غيره. There is something else that it denotes the meaning on. So on something, on the car. So you must mention the car, on the car, right? مثلا طيب لا في نفسه, it doesn't have any, it alone is not sufficient to give some meaning. نعم. طيب inshallah this is hopefully اسم فعل and حرف are يعني clear to us. As a homework assignment, we have just one thing to open Surah Al-Fatiha. طيب Surah Al-Fatiha, as much as you can extract اسم فعل and حرف, اسم فعل and حرف from Surah Al-Fatiha. Extract اسم فعل and حرف from Surah Al-Fatiha. This is our homework assignment. Extract اسم فعل and حرف from Surah Al-Fatiha. Now, what are the, يعني, one of the main things that you will depend on is not these signs that we mentioned. It's the meaning of those words. If you understand the meaning, you can take it out. We said that fi'l is a verb, Verb is an action. Wherever there's action, that's a fi'l, right? صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. أنعمت fi'l, because whom you bestowed your مثلا bounties upon. طيب أنعمت عليهم. Likewise, so if you look at the meaning will help you first of all identify whether it's an ism, fi'l or harf, and after the meaning then you can use these signs and check whether it has tanween, whether it has al, is it fit to put a tanween with it, is it fit to put an al with it, can I put a sawfa or sin with it, can I put a ta al fa'al with it, etc. All of these things inshallah you can bring to use. But the most important thing, ya ikhwan, in order to identify ism, fi'l, harf is usually the meaning. Usually it is the meaning. Understood, ya ikhwan? The meaning is very, very important. If you understand the meaning, you can identify and recognize whether it's an ism or fi'l or harf. With regards to harf, one of the other alamat of harf is that usually it contains yani, very less amount of letters. So if there is a word made of 2 letters only, many a times it is a harf. It is harf. 2 letters. Min, lam, lan, hal, in. Usually it's harf. So this is one of the things that you can bring to your notice and note it down and memorize. The 2 letters, mostly it's harf. So these are things that will help us determine whether a word is ism, fi'l or harf. First of all, the meaning. Most important thing is the meaning. Okay. Number 2, signs, alamat. And number 3, things like this, 2 letters. You know, these, it's not a qaida, it's not a principle, but it's just something that will help you. But in order to demonstrate how the meaning helps you, there is an ayah in Surah Ar-Rahman. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ. طيب. This will help you realize how meaning helps you determine what the word is. And this word will help you realize how the signs help you determine whether it's an ism or fi'l. This is one of the ayats that our Shaykh had mentioned in our first class of Nahw. He said, okay, let me just show you how much the meaning is important. Tell me, what is Jana al-Jannatayn Dan? Tell me, what is the i'rab of Jana? And everyone is, because we didn't know the meaning at that time. So like Jana, Jana, Jana. Everyone thought it's fi'l. Until we saw the meaning, and then we realized no, it's not fi'l. it's an ism. Why? Because Jana means fruit. Well, Jana al-Jannatayn, yani the fruit of the Jannatayn. Dan, طيب Dan. Dan also, if you don't look at its harakat in the Quran, you will think that it's also a fi'l. Dana yadinu. You'll think it's a fi'l, but it's actually a noun. Danin. It's got a kasratain, and danin means dani, yani it's close. So the fruit of the Jannah will be close, easy to pluck, easy to take. So that's what the ayah meant. So from this, we realize how important it is to know the meaning in order to know whether it's a fi'al, harf, or ism. You see? So meaning is super important. Also, the signs are important, but meaning is very important at the same time. Something that we did not emphasize enough in the text of the book. طيب. So our homework is, barakallah fikum, assignment is to extract ism, fi'al, and harf from Surah Al-Fatiha. طيب. We do have a bit of time, I reckon, until, yes, we have a few minutes. Four minutes, inshallah, we can read a little bit more. طيب. Now we start, barakallah fikum, the different classifications of ism. So we said that anything can be classified in different ways depending on what angle you are looking at it from. See, so human beings, if I look at them from the if I want to classify them on the basis of their color, I can do that. I can say human beings have different colors. Some are red, some are white, some are black, some are yellow, some are brown, some are different colors. Right. I want to classify human beings based on nationality. Now I can say, now there is Saudi, there is Nigerian, there is Pakistani, there is Bangladesh, there is English, there is different. Right. If I want to classify human beings based on the religion, or based on the Islamic classification, we say there is Muslim, Munafiq, Kafir, or based on the religion, there's Muslim, Nasrani, Yahudi, hakada. Same thing can be classified differently depending on what you want from it. We want something in Nahw. We want some maqasid. We want things that will help us in Nahw. We want classifications that will help us in Nahw, that are relevant to us in the science of Nahw. And hence, on base of this, we have 5 classifications of ism. 5 classifications. And at each step, and after we're done with these 5 classifications, I will give you a word. I will say, tell me, is it mudhakkar or mu'annath? Tell me, is it mu'rab or mabni? Tell me, is it mu'tal al-akhir or sahih al-akhir? Tell me, is it this or that? Is it مثلا ضمير or it's mu'rab mabni? We have a lot of things to discuss here. But all of these classifications are relevant to us in Nahw. That's why we're discussing them. طيب? Okay, let's start. الباب الأول بيان تقسيمات الاسم. The mention of the تقسيمات, the different classifications of اسم. اقرأ يا أخي المسألة الأولى.
المسألة الأولى انقسام الاسم إلى مذكر ومؤنث. الاسم إما أن يكون مذكرا وإما أن يكون مؤنثا. فالمذكر نحو كتاب وقلم، كتاب وقلم وأسد وبيت ومحمد وطلحة وزكرياء ويحيى. والمؤنث نحو حديقة وكعبة وكرة وقطة وفاطمة وسلمى وعظمى وحمراء وصحراء. وكذلك نحو شمس وأرض ودار ويد وحرب وخمر. وللتأنيث.
نعم. See, so instead of مذكر and mu'annas, everyone knows what it means. So we said that ism, any ism in Arabic, anything that is ism in Arabic, it will be one of the two. It will always be, it can always be classified as either mudhakkar or mu'annas. This classification is true for all asma. It's either mudhakkar or mu'annas, any ism in Arabic. So instead of defining what mudhakkar is, we all know it's a masculine noun. So masculine noun, kitab, qalam, asad. طبعا نحو, after نحو we will have kasratain. But because it was an example, I didn't want to pay too much attention to I didn't want the student to pay too much attention to what the haraka comes at the end of it. I just wanted him to pay attention on the word itself. So kitab, qalam, asad, bayt, Muhammad, Talha, Zakaria, Yahya. Right? Asad, lion, qalam, pen, bayt, house, Muhammad, Talha, Zakaria, Yahya. Okay, these examples are not just arbitrarily mentioned here. I have mentioned these examples for a purpose. Kitab, qalam, asad, bayt, common nouns. Muhammad, proper noun. Talha, proper noun. It has ta marbuta, but it's still a masculine noun because it is referring to a male. That's why it's a masculine noun. Zakaria, it has a alif al-ta'nith al-mamdudah. It is a masculine noun despite of this. Yahya, it is called alif maqsura, but still it is referring to يعني a male person, that's why it's a masculine noun. So that's these examples are mentioned for some purpose, and inshallah it will become clear to us. Now when we come to mu'annath, we mentioned a lot of examples, common nouns, hadiqa, ka'ba, qura, qitta. Then we mentioned some proper nouns, Fatima. Then we mentioned Salma, alif maqsura, udma, hamra, alif mamduda. Alif mamduda means the one that after which we have a hamza. It's called alif mamduda. Because in Quran, you know that after, and whenever there is a hamza after the alif, what do? We make it mamdud. Yeah. وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَالسَّمَاءَ. Likewise, مثلا we say وَجَاءَ فِرْعَوْنُ وَجَاءَ. So whenever after alif there's a hamza, we make it mamdud, we extend it, we prolong it. That's why these are called alif mamduda. This one is called alif maqsura. Maqsur means short, something that has been shortened. So udma, but that's it. Salma, that's it. Sahra, but this one is mamdud. Why? Because it's a hamza. So Sahra, you see. قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها هكذا. طيب. Then we mention other examples, and we mention them separately. We say وكذلك نحو شمس أرض دار يد حرب خام. All of these are mentioned for some purpose. طيب. وللتاء التأنيث اللفظي. How do we know that a word is feminine or masculine? There are some alamat. How many alamat are there? There are 3 alamat. The 3 alamat, barakallahu fikum, are لحظة. تاء التأنيث المربوطة. This is called تاء التأنيث technically, but we usually know it as المربوطة. مربوطة means يعني circular, something that is circular, that is as if it is tied around something. So whenever there is a تاء التأنيث المربوطة, this word is mu'annas, but not necessarily is the noun is mu'annas. So مثلا طلحة is not, you will not say جاءت طلحة. Why? Because طلحة has a, because it's referring to a male. خلاص, here it will not work. معاوية, here the ta tanith will not work. We'll say جاء معاوية, will not use it as a female. Hamza, the ta tanith will not work. You see, Hamza, Muawiyah, Talha, these ta tanith here will not work. It works with anything that is not a male person. That is not a male person. If it is a male person, then ta tanith does not work. If it's a male person, again, person. Ta tanith does not work. واضح يا إخوان? Then we have alif al-ta'nith al-maqsura, that is Salma, Uzma, Dhikra. And inshallah, I will discuss it in detail. And alif al-ta'nith al-mamduda, like Zahra, Hamra, Sahra. All of this, inshallah, in the next class, we will be discussing them in detail. Not too much detail, of course, but I will be giving you, I will be wanting you to differentiate between Huda and Uzma. What's the difference between Huda and Uzma? Why does Uzma have alif al-tanith maqsura, but Huda it has tanween? We will, inshallah, we'll mention this in the next class. And also we have some examples of words, as we mentioned. And all of this, inshallah, is discussed in detail in the next class بإذن الله تعالى إن شاء الله. طيب نكتفي أيها الإخوة الكرام بهذا القدر اليوم، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. من كان عنده سؤال فليسأل. نعم، سؤال. من وحيث لا توجد أسئلة فسنكتفي بهذا القدر وننتهي بهذا. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.